sunset from Rhodes Island. Look at my face, I got sunburn. This is what you get for 3 days of snorkeling. I put a lot of sunscreen, but I don't know, I guess it's unavoidable. Alright, we're going to the castle for the last night. Explore the castle a little bit and Old Town. Alright, we're about to enter Rhodes Old Town. I think I mentioned before that this is my favorite Greek island. It's a close vote between this and Santorini, but this island wins out because not only it has beaches, natural beauty, but it has the ancient sites like this castle or the ancient Acropolis. Fewer crowds and cheaper. Okay, we're about to enter the castle. This castle was made by Knights of St. John, and it's a fascinating history. Their origin began before the First Crusade. Their purpose was to take care of the wounded. Both the Christian soldiers and the Muslim soldiers. Let's take a look at this side too. So this is the moat. You could walk in it. I had an episode where I showed that. But this was built by the Knights of St. John. They're also known as Knights of Malta, the Hospitallers, Knights of Jerusalem. They're still around. They're the only knight order that's still around. There used to be 3 of them. There used to be the Knights Templar, which were who were all killed like in the 1300s, I think, because King of France, Philip IV, I think, he borrowed money from them because Knights Templar were the bankers, and then Philip IV didn't like paying all the interest, so he accused them of fraud and had all of them executed, and then had all the possessions of the Templars transferred to the Knights of St. John. Anyway, Knights of St. John had their origin before the First Crusade. They were taking care of the wounded soldiers. They set up a hospital in the church of St. John the Baptist. Look at this. This is like a medieval town here. Multiple walls. Here's another moat. And here's a castle. So their original purpose was to be doctors and nurses taking care of the wounded. That's why they're called Knights Hospitallers. And then after the First Crusade, which happened 1090 something, Christian soldiers conquered Jerusalem. They started putting up castles. So the Knights Templars put up many castles. The Knights of St. John started to put castles in the Holy Land, and that was their headquarters until the fall of Jerusalem. I believe it was 12 something. When Jerusalem fell, they had to retreat, and the Knights of St. John, they retreated to Cyprus first for a few years, and then they decided to invade Rhodes. They successfully invaded Rhodes and then built the castle here. So this is the castle they built, and it was their headquarters for 200 years. They withstood many invasions, including the one in 1480 by the Sultan that conquered Constantinople. So the Sultan, let's go to the Streets of Knights, which is this way. So the Sultan that conquered Constantinople, he tried to conquer Rhodes, and he couldn't do it. He had to withdraw his army, and then like 20-30 years later, Suleiman the Magnificent, like 1520s or something, he brought 200 ships, or maybe 400 ships, with 200,000 army, laid siege on the castle. The castle only had 6,000 soldiers, and only 300 of them were knights. And they withstood the siege for 6 months. And it looked like Suleiman had to withdraw his forces again, just like his predecessor. And that would be an embarrassment. So Suleiman, instead of retreating, he offered the knights an option. The European countries were too busy fighting amongst themselves. They were not going to come to help Rhodes or Knights of St. John. The knights knew it, Suleiman knew it. He told the knights, hey, no one's coming to help you. You guys fought valiantly, 200,000 versus 6,000. Anybody would call that a victory. He offered them a safe passage out of Rhodes to Sicily. And the knights, the Grand Master, took that offer because, you know, the European powers were not coming to help them. They were going to eventually die here if they kept on, you know, defending this castle. So all those knights, they took their personal possessions, the holy relics, and they went to Sicily. And then eventually they were offered Malta, I believe by the Spanish king, because the Spanish king was getting harassed by the Ottomans. And well, it looks like they're having some kind of concert here. Let's go take a look. Okay, they are rehearsing for a concert. Okay, as I was saying, the Spanish king offered the knights Malta because he was getting harassed by the Ottoman pirates, the Barbary pirates. And he thought if he put the knights in Malta, there would be a distraction for the Ottoman Empire and the Barbary Knights. That's exactly what happened. So after they abandoned this castle, I don't believe it was ever destroyed. It doesn't look like it was destroyed. I think they just abandoned it because they knew they were just gonna die here. So they went to Malta in the 1500s and they built a castle there. And by the way, I'm going to Malta also. It's weird, but I'm following the Knights of St. John. So I first heard of them in Prague because they were controlling the Charles Bridge. So in the 1300s and beyond, they were getting money through various enterprises, including controlling bridges, including the Charles Bridge. So they would charge a toll for anybody that is not a citizen of Prague to cross the bridge. They also had a monopoly on the Charles Bridge. So no other bridges could be built. And that happened for many hundreds of years. This is the Streets of Knights. Look at this. Isn't this cool? Okay, that cat's trying to chase the laser. So around the 1300s, Knights of St. John were like businessmen. They were doing various things to get money, like controlling bridges. They were headquartered in Malta starting in 1500s, and they withstood all these sieges by the Ottoman Empire from the 1500s to 1700s. Eventually, Napoleon tricked them into letting his army in, and I think Napoleon conquered it in 1790 by using trickery. And Knights of Malta are still around. They are a sovereign order, so they're not a sovereign nation, but they have, I believe they have embassies and they have representation in various countries, including the UN. And now they mainly do charity work, caring for the wounded and the sick. And they have headquarters in the Vatican. They have a little piece of land there. So they're still around. Knights Templars are gone. Some say they turned into the Masonic order. May or may not be true. But the Knights Templars were all killed. 1300s. Later on they discovered papers in the Vatican with the papacy admitting that it was wrong for them to kill all the Knights Templar, that they were forced by Philip IV, who was a relative of the Pope, that ordered the Knights to be killed. So they admitted that was something they did that was not right. So Knights Templars were innocent. They were not doing any kind of fraud. Philip IV didn't want to pay the interest, and the simplest solution was to accuse them and have them killed. So they're gone. I think the other knight order is the Teutonic Knights, and they're gone too. I think Napoleon disbanded them. But the Knights of Malta, originally called the Knights of St. John, they're still around. The Hospitallers, Knights of Rhodes, they're all the same. So I thought that was a cool story. I found out more about it. You know, I heard about Knights of St. John before. I didn't know too much about them, but you know, once you're here, you want to learn more about them. And it's an interesting story. Okay. So this is Old Town. We're going to explore Old Town a little more. Look at the shops. Oh, there's the harbor. Let's look at the harbor first. Okay, my last look at the harbor. I was here many times for 3 cruises. Beautiful harbor. Almost as beautiful as the ones in Crete. The ones in Crete, I think, are more beautiful than this. Crete has a lot of Venetian buildings because it was conquered by the Venetians. Okay, let's go to Old Town. The Grand Master that surrendered to the Ottoman Empire here in Rhodes, he made the right decision. Because if he didn't surrender, they would have ended up like the Knights Templars, gone. Because it was hopeless. 200,000 versus 6,000 with no help coming. Best deal was to take the offer of safe passage. Smart move, because they're still around. If you see anything interesting, let me know. I'll get one for you. It's only €5 for sunglasses. But I already got a sunglass I like. It's only €5. Wow, it's cheap. I'll try one of these. This is probably Knights of Malta or Knights of Rhodes. Right here. They had the 8-pointed cross. That was their emblem. Here's Colossus. That's what it might have looked like. Colossus was as big as the Statue of Liberty. stood here 2,000, like 200 years ago. Stood here for 50 years. Destroyed by earthquake. One of the 7 wonders of the world.